The Winter Olympics, many are comparing two Chinese-American female athletes, Eileen Gu and Alyssa Liu. Alyssa Liu competed for the U.S. as a figure skater and won gold. Meanwhile, Eileen Gu competed for China and took silver in the freestyle skiing final. Eileen Gu is now the highest-paid Winter Olympian in the world. She earned an estimated $23 million in 2025 alone. Her income comes from partnerships with Chinese companies like the Bank of China, as well as Western brands. Both Eileen and Alyssa were born in the U.S. and are in their 20s, with each having a parent of Chinese heritage. Despite these similarities, the two took very different paths, sparking discussions online. In a post on X, former NBA player Enes Kanter Freedom called Gu a traitor. He wrote, "She was born in America, raised in America, lives in America, and chose to compete against her own country for the worst human rights abuser on the planet, China." He added, "That's not neutrality, that's a choice. She chose to play for a country responsible for the deaths of tens of millions of its own people, and that is running concentration camps right now, instead of the country where she was born and given opportunity." Hudson Institute senior fellow Michael Spolik commented on Eileen Gu's criticism of President Trump and her silence on human rights violations by the Chinese Communist Party. He wrote, "If you criticize America but won't say a word about the CCP, that says a lot about you. If you're an American athlete that leverages the freedom this country has given you to represent an authoritarian regime, that says even more." But Eileen Gu defended her decision to compete for China, saying she wanted to have a greater impact there than in the U.S., where there are fewer role models to look up to. Gu adds that she would like to become one of them in order to inspire Chinese people. She also denied that her choice was about loyalty to any particular country, saying it was about the impact she would like to have. And to unpack all of this, we spoke to Lily Tang Williams, survivor of Mao's Cultural Revolution. She's also a New Hampshire congressional candidate. Lily, thank you so much for joining us. Always great to see you. First, why do you think this comparison is getting so much attention?
Well, that just send a message to all the immigrants who brought their children or their children were born in this country. And, we have a different kind of generations. Some are very in touch with China's history and denounce communism, think that's evil ideology. But some just forgot their roots and they're pro-CCP, maybe because their parents are pro-CCP. And also it's self-interest driven. It's lots of money involved, and lots of commercial interest and for the sponsors too. And I'm anti-CCP. I cannot even go to China, visit my family for past 11 years. And so when you look at the two young women, I will say the Miss Liu is American patriot. It's not about you are Chinese American, Korean American. It's about if you embrace American ideals that, we love this country. But if you can just carry other countries' flag and play for other countries' team, I think Eileen Gu might consider to become a Chinese citizen, live there, and to say what's like.
To your point, it is a tale of two choices, one using her American training to benefit China while raking in millions in sponsorships, the other declining to represent the Chinese Communist Party and choosing to represent America. What do these different choices tell us about the Chinese regime's influence and goals?
Well, Xi Jinping's Chinese China dream is to use soft power and use the United Front Work Department to infiltrate into America, not just Chinese Americans communities, but in our schools, in our business, corporations, Hollywood, and politics. So I have been warning people for 10 years that they don't have to fire one shot. And they send their ideologies and their spies and their operatives in this country, indoctrinate, and also offer them very good benefits to be pro-CCP. And I have been tracking this for 10 years, and we have Chinese companies in New Hampshire too, to buy buildings, buy real estate, and have a business and buy private university campuses and to have their own international schools. One of them is even said that they want to train China's future diplomats. I mean, look at what Jing Wu, right? Like a state senator, minority senator leader in Texas recently to say, hey, we are the majority. If minorities all team up together, have this anti-white sentiment because white people are oppressor, He does not know what he's talking about. The real oppressors are the communists. So it's not about your race. It's about your ideology. So I'm hoping that, people can say what kind of ideologies and work better in the history and what kind of Chinese Americans that you want to call patriot. And as I said, if you love China so much, you should not be living in the United States. Go to China to be in touch with Chinese regular citizens who have no free speech, who have no freedom, who have no religious freedom, to go there, to be in touch with reality, to show, your native country patriotism, but get out of America, I will say to them.
Eileen Gu is coming under a lot of criticism over her recent comments after she lost gold, saying, quote, "Sometimes it feels like I'm carrying the weight of two countries on my shoulders." Many pointing out that when she wins, the gold only goes to China. How useful is it to the Chinese regime to have popular people, in this case, an athlete, represent them on the world stage?
Chinese Communist Party has been recruiting talents in the U.S. for a while. And not just the athletes, but, influencers and engineers and scientists and offer them benefits. And they do take advantage of people's, family connections in China. And maybe they just are brainwashed not to know the true history and true colors of the Communist Party. I think it's absolutely disgraceful and shameful for her parents to make her feel like a Chinese Communist Party and still the savior of China without the CCP, like Chinese people cannot have prosperity. It's just a total BS. Actually, America is the best country to provide a free market and opportunities for legal immigrants like me. But she was born here. She did not know. And our educational system don't teach her that. And if her parents don't teach her true history of China, then of course, she's a young lady who just doesn't know much. And she got lots of endorsement and lots of sponsorships and make lots of money. And I still would advise her maybe when she goes to China, live there for a while and go to countryside and talk to regular Chinese people. Maybe she will know that America is actually the best country on earth. And she would love to come back and kiss the, dirt.
On the other hand, Alyssa says that in 2022, she found out that her family was being spied on by the CCP along with other Chinese dissidents in the U.S. It's reported that her father was a political refugee after the Tiananmen Square protests. Talk to us about how the Chinese regime pressures overseas Chinese dissidents, even their family members who are born and raised in America.
Well, that it's I would say, a transnational oppressive regime. They use money, they use influence, they use politics, they even recruit people to run for them, get into the U.S. government. And I have been warning people where we are focused on China on the world stage and fight the tariff wars and the cultural wars. We have to mind our own country. They are here, and CCTV is showing every day. If you are Chinese American, you want to see Chinese language program, and they have access to CCTV, which is China's propaganda show. And I have friends watch that all the time. And because, they are continue to miss China and to allow themselves to be indoctrinated by the Chinese propaganda, it's very sad to me. It's like, how could your parents survive communism coming here? Then you don't come here embrace American values. So good for Miss Liu's parents who actually was a student leader, demonstrator in Tiananmen Square. So he, as a father, educated her daughter right. Don't forget your past and don't forget the history. The communism is the most evil regime in the world. America stands for freedom. So I'm so proud of the call, Miss Liu, American patriot. And I'm proud of how she was educated by her own father.